So the disease I had was tuberculosis. The scientific name is Mycobacterium tuberculosis, which is also the bacteria that causes this disease. The common name is tuberculosis and TB, and TB is usually used because it's easier to say and faster and a lot shorter. There's two different types of TB, and there's latent TB and active TB. Latent TB is when someone has the TB infection, but the bacteria remains inactive, so the signs and symptoms aren't shown and they won't see them, and they're not contagious at all. But with active TB, this usually occurs within the first few weeks of the infection with the TB bacteria, or after the bacteria becomes active, which you can have latent TB for a few years and then the bacteria can somehow become active. So then you'll start showing the signs and symptoms and become very highly contagious. The effective areas of the human body. TB is a seriously infectious disease that mainly affects the respiratory system, especially in the lungs. And it's spread by droplets when people sneeze or cough, or sometimes even if they speak or sing in a close proximity to people that they're around every day. Usually is how people spread it. But once someone breathes in the bacteria, it settles into the lungs and can start growing. And can also spread through the bloodstream to affect other body parts, but the body parts usually go to the spine, the brain, or the kidneys. The symptoms for TB, which these will only occur if you have active TB, are you'll have a cough for 3 or more weeks, coughing up blood, chest pain or pain with breathing or coughing, unintentional weight loss, fatigue, fever, night sweats, chills, and loss of appetite. According to the Mayo Clinic website that I used on their article for TB, they said, whenever TB occurs outside your lungs, signs and symptoms may vary according to the organs involved. For example, tuberculosis of the spine may give you back pain, while tuberculosis in your kidneys might cause blood in your urine. But usually the symptoms are all the same for the respiratory one, but as I spread to other body parts or in disease in systems, it might cause some different ones that aren't seen in this list. The regions of the world where the disease is found. TB can be found in every part of the world. A few years ago in 2018, the largest number of new TB cases occurred in Southeast Asia, the African region, and the Western and Pacific regions, which Southeast Asia was at 44%, while the African region was at 24%, and Western and Pacific combined was 18%. Overall, 87% of new cases back in 2018 again occurred in the 30 high TB burden countries. 8 countries alone accounted for 2/3 of the new TB cases. Those countries were India, China, Indonesia, the Philippines, Pakistan, Nigeria, Bangladesh, and South Africa. Now, whether it's an emerging or re-emerging disease is kind of up for debate. One of the articles I read was, the disturbing answer is that tuberculosis is reappearing in many countries as a public health crisis. Thus, if it's not an emerging disease, it's an important re-emerging disease. Though ancient, it is not a disease of the past. A staggering 1.9 million around the globe die of tuberculosis each year. Another 1.9 billion are infected with it in tuberculosis and are at risk for the active disease. So tuberculosis is considered both an emerging and re-emerging. Some vary at how they want to describe it, but overall it's still affecting people today, which is why it's not an ancient one, because it's not a disease of the past. So it has not been eradicated. Although it is treatable and curable, it still affects people's daily lives to this day. And there's my reference.